To the left, as you're looking at it, that's the oldest part of the castle, which is medieval, 11th to 13th century. And then the area which we call the kind of northeast court, which is the second court back, is 15th century. And then in the 17th century, this southeast court. And then there were a series of 19th century additions. I believe an American couple then bought it to operate a hotel in the 70s. And there was a fire which completely destroyed the castle, burnt out the roofs, destroyed the interiors.
The landmark's natural tendency is to tidy the whole bloody thing up. It is.
No,
that's what you do.
You
tidy things up brilliantly, and thank goodness someone does.
It shouldn't be that you either have to do something that is kind of faithful restoration or that just leaves your kind of ravaged ruin as a sort of rather inconvenient thing in the background of some sort of funky new development. It should be possible to do something that is both old and new. Because
we thought the colours and the patina were so interesting. Not in a romantic way, it's just kind of like, in a way, the ravage of the fire and destruction is just sort of, it is interesting on a kind of human level.
The thought was that, you know, in a more of a kind of standard for us way, you know, you go back through the images of what it was like and you sort of look at doing a reconstruction of it at some particular moment in the past. And we looked at that, and it obviously raised lots of issues, like which moment and so on. But even those notwithstanding, the scale of it and the cost of doing that was just, you know, I mean, we were just not in a position, you know, we're just a little charity, we're not in a position to sort of have £20 million to put into it. And anyway, we felt a bit uneasy about it because of this multi-phase character of the site and so on.
And I would say our approach, the naivety of not having done much of this work was, in this instance, I would say, was a real bonus, because we weren't worried about, well, we weren't as conscious of all the hurdles that we would have to get through. So you could argue it was, sometimes you can know too much. And we felt, right, where all these things come together, the 15th, the 17th, the medieval, that will be where you sit and dine. It's where the reflection partly takes place. And we'll bring that together in one kind of constructional moment. The new architecture is the thing that stabilises the ruin. What we made was a new ruin, actually, if you look at it. And we wanted all these sort of, all the broken edges, all that sort of destruction to be kind of apparent. What we said is, if it can't stand up, it's got to go. I'm sorry to be...
Did you push all the walls?
Well, no, we didn't need to. They pushed themselves. And then it turned out, once you could get in here, the historic... There's so much found while we were under construction. He said, that fireplace up there is one of the oldest bits of the castle. It's like, right, that's got to stay then. Redesign.
I mean, Stephen's, you know, being very there about it. And I'm not saying there wasn't some of that. Not least because until we got into it, we didn't know how stable any bit of fabric was. But, you know, there was a very clear hierarchy of things that had to stay and things which were negotiable.
These roofs weren't on at tender. We kept them in. We begged to keep them in as an alternative price, competitively priced. And we said we'd only do them if we were under budget on the rest of it and we could afford them. And about a third of the way through the brickwork and that, when it got to the critical time in the programme, we were under the budget and we could have the roof. I don't know who said it, but it's like, you know, you make some clear principles and you stick to them rigorously. Forget it. We didn't have clear principles. We had an idea about how we relate to history and some spatial ones. And we always, at competition stage, we flipped the house. So we had the bedrooms on the ground floor, and we imagined this upper floor room because of this lovely landscape. So that was very intuitive. So all of the brick is built on medieval wall, if you like, footings. I don't think we made, other than maybe one or two nibs, we didn't really make any new foundations.
As it stood, it would have just decayed and disappeared, because for many years, neither English Heritage nor anyone else wanted anything to do with it, because of the costs. And I think that was the biggest problem. But when you think that several queens have actually stayed here, either by choice or not, it's a great shame to have lost a building that has got historical value.
You know, one of the things that I think Stephen's scheme's been brilliant for, and we all really wanted, was not to sort of try and sort of wipe out, erase the sort of ruination of Astley Castle, because it is so eloquent about its own history and it's so beautiful, and so it's the kind of trying to keep that sense of the ravages of time whilst re-inhabiting it.